Bitcoin's a letdown. I'm serious. It really is. The only thing that's moved the markets today is, of course, the story of the shutdown coming to an end. Yeah. We're going to break all that story down, but let's just have a little conversation about Bitcoin. What a letdown. Bitcoin was tanking in the New York Open and NASDAQ was like, okay, let's just drop, buy the bid. That's what they do. They ain't ever going to be paying a premium if they've been knocking it up all morning. Marked it higher, came down, pick up, off we go. But Bitcoin was like, Bitcoin was just embarrassing today. It was. You know, when you're with your friends and you're like, yo, man, look at this stock. Nah, Bitcoin just didn't do it for me today. Nope. But NASDAQ did. NASDAQ, you absolute monster. Anyways, everyone got liquidated. You know what? It's true. Everyone probably did get liquidated, but this is why you've got to expand on the universe of assets that you can trade. I mean, let me just put it like this to you, okay? You walk into a nightclub, right? You see plenty of women around, and you see one, and you're like, yeah, man, I'm down for her. So you make your way to go and speak to her. You're like, you know, you brush yourself off, and you're like, yeah, I'm ready. You're going to go and speak to her. You make your way over to her, and then you start introducing yourself. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? You all right? And all that stuff. And she just stares at you. Just looks at you dead in the face. Now you're looking like to your left over her shoulder, and you can see some other women that are like waving to you. And like, hey, come over here. Yeah, come here, man, come here. But you're like, oh, but I like this one. I mean, I like those as well, but I like this one. And she's still staring at you dead in the face. That's exactly what Bitcoin did today. Bitcoin was that chick that just stares at you dead in the face and doesn't even give you anything. Not even a blink. Not even, yeah, I'm all right. Are you? Cool night and what have you. Not even small talk. The women behind her was your NASDAQ, your S&P, your Dow Jones, all the nut jobs. They were living life today. But no, Bitcoin thought, today we do the XRP formation. I'm not even going to get into XRP as well. Talking about 26 million in inflows into XRP and the whales are in. Shut up, man. Talking about that madness. Anyways, yeah. Let's just break it all down, ladies and gentlemen. Let's make sense of it all. I'm about to sneeze. Here we go. So this story with the Senate. Of course, my title is what's my title again? The Senate historic. What did I call it? Senate moves to end historic shutdown. Yes, they're gonna end it, but it's not quite done just yet. You know, because we got to present it to Trump. He's got to be cool with it. So we're not fully open, but the markets just said, you know what? Yes, we are cool with that information. That means we're going to be getting information. In front of you is the estimated release dates for key US economic data. Because without this, we're not going to know if we're going to get the rate cuts or not. The interest rate story is a little bit like quiet, a bit like that bird in the nightclub, just like, that's it. That's your interest rate story right now, okay? In front of you, they're giving us dates on the employment data and, the employment is going to reopen on the 12th. That's what they're saying. And then you've got reopening on the November the 17th, reopening on the 24th, on the assumption that they do come to an agreement. It's within this time frame, okay? If they agree, then okay. But it says here that we're going to be getting the CPI data for October this week. So that's a good start, okay? That's really good. And then, of course, we're going to be getting the CPI for November on December the 10th, and we're going to just go back to normal, all right? So, but tomorrow, we don't really have that much to be thinking about. It's Veterans Day tomorrow. And, of course, the markets, some markets will be open, some won't be. So it's going to be irregular liquidity or irregular volatility and low liquidity. So just make sure you're just chilling out tomorrow and not really putting too much size in the marketplace, okay? But the overall consensus is that if this is good news for the market, which it is, then where does that leave us now? Is the market just pricing in the US government reopening, or are they pricing in that the expectation from the Federal Reserve is that we're going to get some big rate cuts coming into it? Who said it today? There we go. Trump-backed Fed Governor Stephen Miran calls for 50 basis points rate cut in December. So he wants the rate cut. He wants a big rate cut. All right. And given that we've had this delay and the slowdown, now, of course, more than likely, unemployment claims are going to be coming in higher. But of course, him wanting the 50 basis points before every meeting, this guy's always wanting to have big rate cuts. OK, when he started to come into it, and he became a member of the Federal Reserve, he voiced it clear as day. I want to have higher rate cuts. We need bigger rate cuts. Trump said today that inflation is on its target towards 1.5%, lower than what the Fed's expectation was of 2%. So, we're getting a lot of optimism on the idea that rates are going to get cut. Okay. Now, going into it, or just to have a look at where we are in the market. I mean, look at this, man. Bitcoin, absolutely embarrassing, completely embarrassing today. So I did that trade earlier on the NASDAQ, but I needed to get out of it because I was anticipating that NASDAQ was going to drop in the open of the New York session. So today, for the Platinum members, these are the trade setups that I put out to everyone. And I offer trade setups across 6 asset classes: Euro, NASDAQ, Bitcoin, Gold, Ethereum, Solana. Okay. And I'm just going to go over what had happened today, and you'll see why it's really important that you trade other assets. Okay. So Euro, we wanted to see Euro come down to make a little bit of a continuation to the upside. Did it happen? Well, it didn't do anything. Euro will not move unless there's something big coming into play, or there is an expectation of something. And Euro today was being very, very tricky, very. And that's usually what happens, which is why you then go over to another asset. We were looking for gold. We wanted to see gold try and make a retrace continuation to the upside. And of course, gold today just said no. It just went up, ladies and gentlemen, gave a little retrace here, but not quite the retrace that I wanted. But we didn't get the 40 and 57. We got the 40 and 74. And then it just continued to make the move to the upside. So that was all right if the guys took advantage of that trade. But the NASDAQ one was the one that gave me the cake. So I wanted to see NASDAQ make a stop run to the upside, right? Create the bids. Create the offers, trap traders in the wrong side of the trade to then bring it back down to then make the reversal back up. Okay. Now the entry was around 25,405. So we go into it all, and you can see that NASDAQ did just that. They made the move up right there, and they came into an entry region of 25,452. Now, I took this trade. So what I do usually at the end of the week is I withdraw some money from my personal funds when I'm trading. And whilst I'm waiting for that, I get onto funded accounts. And last week I did five. Here it is right here. What am I talking about? I did 550K accounts on Top Step, and I passed those last week. And today I took the trades on those Express accounts, and we came out really well. We practically rode the whole move. This was my entry right here at 25,530. And I opened 2 lot sizes on there. And then I opened another one on the S&P, because you're only allowed to start off with 3 contracts when you start a new Express account. Now, I obviously copied the trade across 5 accounts, which netted me around $6,261 on each account, which is roughly around $31 on the Express account. So I'm just going to do that from now. What I usually do is I withdraw money from my personal account. Whilst I'm waiting for that, I go into funded accounts. And then when I get these balances to a certain amount, I then withdraw them, start again, withdraw, start again. That's usually what I tend to do when I'm trading on funded accounts. But we did really well today on the first day. You only meant to make 150 quid on the first day, or for 5 days. We made 6,261 across all 5 accounts. Happy days. So we're all good with that. But that's what I usually do. And I recommend anyone that when you're trading, right, always aim to try and build a balance, get it to a level, withdraw, reset your psychology. Because you keep on growing and growing and growing and growing. Some people just like to just keep the accounts growing. For me, what works with my psychology is I have to restart, okay? Because it gets really boring in the end, right? You've made this certain amount of money. Where's the challenge? I want to start off light size and build and scale and scale, all right? And that's what you've got to keep doing, right? Don't make yourself believe that you have to have loads of money to make loads of money. No, you need to have a certain amount of money that will allow you to exercise your system, trade light, scale in, be more disciplined in yourself. Forget the system. You've got to be disciplined in yourself so that you can then put all that to work and then grow your account. And there's a much better reward. You can flip accounts, no problem. But if you grow accounts, you then get a little bit excited about size. And that's what would be happening with my personal account when I would build my account to a certain amount and I'll be like, okay, that's cool. And then you make the wrong move and it's, you know, you're down 50 grand before lunchtime. That's a bit of, and that's New York lunchtime. So about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you're down 50K. So you're like, yeah, we don't want to be doing that anymore. So we then withdraw it, put it in the bank, leave it there, and then we start again. You know, that's what you've got to do to keep yourself in check. All right. So that's what happened with NASDAQ. So we exploited this whole move to the upside. I closed it off as we ticked towards the red vector candle recovery. And that's exactly what had happened here. You know, that's what we were trading. We're trading into that logic of the recovery of the vector candle. And this is hybrid system 101, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is where it gets a bit of a letdown. Bitcoin. Wanted to see Bitcoin come down, test the open, and test the 105,156, okay, to then try and make a move to the upside. So this is what they did. They gave us the retrace, right? They came all the way down to the 104,690, okay? And then they made the recovery back up, which is consistent with what we wanted to see them do. 105,156 and then make a recovery up. Didn't get the range that I wanted. I was trading the idea that, yeah, we're going to see some movement. Look at what NASDAQ has done. The market is clearly in risk on. They want the flavor because the US government has shut down. Oh, sorry, the US government is going to reopen. But cryptocurrency was like, no, thank you, not today. No, not interested. Will we have a good Asian session? Well, it all depends on where we are with it all. I mean, we've had great news. Check this out. Jack Dorsey's 4 million plus Square merchants can now access Bitcoin payments. Irrelevant. Why? Because Bitcoin's not pricing that in. That's on the assumption that all 4 million Square merchants all transact at the same time with Bitcoin. It's very unlikely it's going to happen. But of course, you know, that's great news. You know, crypto's going mainstream. When was the last time you heard that? It's always been said and no one does anything about it. Got stupid news. half a billion XRP accumulation shows effect. Price rallies 12%. Let's go and back that up. We've been in like $2.50 for ages, man. Yeah, it's just dead. Sorry. I can't stand it. Every time I look at this chart, I only look at this chart with you guys, right? And it's always in the same spot, man. We looked at it last week and it was there. Won't bother with that one. Doesn't seem to work. Let's go into the order flow with Bitcoin, understand where we are with leverage traders and all that fun and games. Come on, High Block. What you doing to me? Hurry up. No, you're not working. All right, don't need you then. Anyways, whoa. Oh, God. 716 Bitcoin has been transferred from Bybit wallet to Bybit wallet. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm not too concerned about that because it's not that much Bitcoin. But looking at the order flow, you can see we got some bids down here. 15 million at the bottom side of 103,722. They did all the moving for Bitcoin over the weekend, to be frank with you. But logic says that we would naturally assume that Asia is going to want to try and mark Bitcoin's price higher. But we've got to be very careful with it all. Why are you not working? Why are you not working? It's not working. Anyway, latest insiders behavior. Seeing quite a few guys selling. This is not buying. Look at it, man. These guys are all selling. Look, all red, selling, 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 selling. Let's quickly have a look at the volume on the NASDAQ. What has QBTS been up to? Doing all right. It's up 0.72 in the out of hours markets nearly. Going into the NASDAQ in terms of volume, so you guys are aware, big gap up in the composite index. This is the daily volumes below average, so that's a little bit of a problem for me. We really want to be seeing that volume coming in above average, which is a cause for concern for me when you're considering the NASDAQ, because it is up 2% nearly on the day, and you've got very, very light volume. Volume is below average, and this is really important. You need to have volume backing the NASDAQ's move to the upside to suggest the idea that there is accumulation happening, okay? Now we go over to the stock market just to look at where we are with assets, and I'll break down a little bit more Bitcoin price action. NVIDIA is up 5% for the day, so that's going to be interesting to see what their volume is like. I'll just quickly bring that up for you all. NVIDIA, yeah, volume is slightly above average, and in 9 days' time, NVIDIA is going to be giving us its earnings. So they're going to maintain this stellar performance. It's going to be an interesting one, but there is an expectation that NVIDIA is going to break out towards maybe the 226 zone. That will be very interesting if we see NVIDIA actually claim that range. Going into the sentiment across the board, seasonality-wise, we should be doing good today. We're on day 10. And of course, you know, we're up today on the average return over the last 30 years on the S&P. Average returns around 0.15, well, 0.15%. And today we're up nearly 2% on the NASDAQ. So the S&P has come into play with a flavorsome move of, 1.53%. So that's not bad. We're not, I can't complain about that. But everyone's asking the question about gold right now. And why is gold moving up? I've said it and I will repeat it over and over again. Now that the US government is potentially coming to an end with the shutdown, we're now going to get the guys who are interested in the logic of interest rates being cut coming into play. They've been accumulating, and now gold's making the move. I said to you, it's going to go back up to these vector candles. So those of you that are in that flavor of swing trading, give it a bit of freedom. Unless some nut job turns around and says, no, we're not going to be cutting interest rates, gold's price will drop. Other than that, gold's price is being projected to continue to the upside. So really, my expectation is gold is going to clear 4,500. That will be wild, ladies and gentlemen. Silver's reclaimed the $50 mark itself, getting ready to do exactly the same thing. Dollar yen is starting to do some very interesting behavior. It's being very, very tricky. But of course, a lot of investors are somewhat concerned about the story with regards to the Japanese yen. They are considering that they're going to increase their interest rates, which is naturally going to have a little bit of a problem in the marketplace. And what we've noticed today, guys, is this. The yields have been going up. So they're up 0.93%. And then you've got the 5-year at spot 9.5, and then the 10-year at spot 6.6, and 30-year at spot 2.3, which effectively means that no one's going into the bonds because they're getting rid of the bonds, and then they're going into risk on assets because they like the idea of the US government shutting down. With the US government shutting down, that means we're going to get access to data. That data is going to tell us that we're going to get rate cuts. Once the rate cuts come into play, all the assets are going to start to appreciate and continue to the upside. The idea of overvaluation is out the window. And you've got big tech circulating and recycling money back and forth to each other. And Michael Burry is still in that short on Palantir and NVIDIA. So it's going to be interesting if NVIDIA does really spike up and do well on its earnings. I think the second we find out that NVIDIA doesn't do well on its earnings, dustbin, bro. We are going in the bin. NVIDIA just needs to do a bad return or adjust its outlook and say, things aren't looking too great. Then we are going to start seeing a very interesting correction. That is my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. What's this? Bitcoin dumping. I mean, bro, you call that a dump, bro? Is that a dump? Tell me you don't think that is a dump. Anyway, let's just go to the higher time frames for the holders, and then I'll leave you people be. Happy days. So, Bitcoin. It's done very well to sustain this 100K mark, okay? But price is below the 5 and 13 EMA. It spiked above it, but you've got two candles. Now, if you go back in the live streams, you will remember me saying to you that if the 5 and 13, if price can get above the 5 and 13 EMA, right? As long as it sustains itself above these two EMAs, the logic says that we're done with this zone. And the next area of resistance will be the 50 EMA. Once it gets to that point and some of you guys go spot on Bitcoin here, right? And it goes all the way up towards 112,000, even above at 114,000, take some profits off the table because the order flow is suggesting that they are favoring lower prices. There's your high. There's another high. The logic says another high. Okay. Now you've got participants that believe Bitcoin is done. It's going to collapse. It's going to drop. It's going to do that. Cool. Let them worry about the collapse when it starts to happen. In the meantime, Bitcoin's more than likely going to try and reclaim higher ground. Is the bull run back on? Well, we need to know if we're going to get bigger rate cuts or not. If the Bank of Japan are not going to increase their interest rates. If they don't do that, then we've got another rally that we can start going into. But if they're going to do that, everything's going to pull back from there. If Nvidia flops on its earnings, everything's going to be pulling back from there. If the Federal Reserve say, no, inflation's still a problem, labor market is actually okay, then we're not going to increase the cut the interest rates. We're going to keep it on hold because that is something that they can do. They can hold the rates and that would completely wreck everything. It really would. But I have an expectation that if Bitcoin's sustaining this range right here, retrace just to mimic the order flow. Some of you guys might be involved in the harmonic patterns or what have you, that you've got ebb and flow coming in. So we expect retrace and then it can easily just roll over from there. It will be a macroeconomic event that would create that logic, ladies and gentlemen. And we are very subject to macroeconomic events, meaning that someone can say something online, Trump can say something online, and someone can set off a nuclear warhead as they're testing it, and it's going to be a problem. So the market is very receptive to it, which is why I strongly recommend that you pay yourselves when you are trading, because there is no guarantee that someone's going to tweet something, someone's going to say something, and the market is going to absorb it. It's been one of the wildest marketplaces ever, all right? It used to be technical analysis, in my opinion. Now you're having to react to what participants believe about something. All right. Is Trump going to speak today? Oh, he might say this. Oh, he might say that. Let's start positioning ourselves. You know, it's one of those. Tino the bearish. Tino back at it. Oh, for God's sake. All right. Let me ask you a question. Do you all think I'm bearish? Be honest. Do you think I'm bearish? All right. Because I, as a creator, right? It's my responsibility to make sure that all of you buy at the highest possible price. If you are okay with that, please type 1. If you are not okay with buying at the highest possible price and learning and trying to identify where the lowest possible price could be, then please type 2. So if you want higher prices, type 1. If you want lower prices, type 2. That means you're buying. Yeah, so if you're going to buy at high prices, type 1. You want to buy at lower prices, type 2. Okay? Lower prices, 2. Okay, 2. Ah, yeah, naive. Don't worry about the hair, man. 2. 1.5, you special brer. 1.5, it's 2 numbers, man. 1 or 2, you come with the 1.5. Okay, so I'm seeing some 1s. You want higher prices because you're going to buy at the highest price. Yeah, that's the agreement. Not you bought at Bitcoin at 100,000 and you want higher prices. No, I want to know if you want to buy at higher prices. Please, I want to know. Where are the 1s? Where are you all? Where are the 1s? Why am I not seeing any 1s? Got 4 here. You know, got 1, no 1. There was a couple of 1s. One guy wants to buy at the highest price. You know, feel bad for that guy because guys, retail mentality. Yeah, but you know, it's 1's got some more 1s. Okay, then. So, yeah. So realistically, when you call me bearish, it means that you want to buy Bitcoin at the highest price. Okay. So fortunately for me, I will sell to you. That's great news for me, right? Fortunately for you, you're buying from me. And I say that in such a cocky way, just so that it sits in your mind that the next time you do buy when prices are rising, and I'm talking as it's pumping, right? You'll think about this little dialogue that I'm having with you, and you'll say, why would I want to buy at the highest point? I can give you the best analogy for it, all right? If you are about to take a trade and you see prices are rising, all right? Envision taking the trade and standing above your computer. You are the price of Bitcoin. All right. And if you're looking down at your computer, start waving to all the guys that are effectively selling to you, because they're the ones that bought when it was really low. Right. And then you're all the way at the top, like, yo, I'm up here, man. I brought Bitcoin, you know, I bought it at 115,000. Hoorah. Yeah, baby, you donut. Why? So you call me bearish. It tells me you're not understanding what I'm doing here and what we talk about every day. But I know you have the basic understanding to not go and buy something that's really expensive and it increases in price. You just wouldn't do it. How much are your eggs? How much is your chicken? How much are your steaks? You go and buy your steak from whatever restaurant you go to and you're paying $50 for the steak and they come to you and say it's $60. What are you going to say? You might be like, never mind, but you're paying more for it because you like it. But I mean, fundamentally, you don't want to be paying more for it, do you? No, you just want to pay what you used to paying or less. You know, you want to, I wouldn't mind getting a $60 steak for nothing. I've obviously got to pay for it if I want to sit in the restaurant and what have you, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to say to you, man. Economic 101 tells you that you want to buy something of value that's dropped because the idea is it's going to increase in value. That's your goal. That's your investment objective, to generate a return, not buy and generate a loss. You can generate losses if you want. That's cool by me. How's your Gleftigo? Taylor bought the last one. No, he didn't. This is Black Friday, huge thing. People want to buy at a discount. Yeah, that's true. Now, you know what? Even on a, you know what the thing is though? When Black Friday comes out, okay, like for example, TradingView will give you a Black Friday discount, right? And you'll say, claim this now. I'll be like, nah, it's just too much effort. I don't even take the discount. I'll be like, nah, I'm happy with full price. It's okay. I'll just pay full price. That's all I'll do. But if it drops, it's worthless. Well, yeah, this is true. They want to buy during an uptrend. Yeah, look, listen, he's not bearish only because of the facial hair. No, it's newbies. They call you bearish. I know. Never mind. Look, if you need it in colors, okay, just to help you understand. There's someone up here that wants to sell $21 million worth of Bitcoin. That's me. I'm up there. Okay. I'm selling $21 million worth of Bitcoin at that price, 106,888. Okay. That's me. Okay. Cool. But I was buying it down here. Now, in order for this order to get taken, I need all you dudes to go and buy the Bitcoin as it's rising, because you're not going to do it as it's dropping. You're going to do it as it's rising, because it feels like it's counterintuitive. You want to see it rise because you apply the idea that if it's increasing in value, it's going to continue, right? But the logic of a discount generates more interest in terms of optimism from investors than it does when prices rising. You become somewhat pessimistic when price rises if you are a good investor. What's the biggest thing that they're all saying right now? Overvaluations. They think everything is overpriced. I know we have a bit of a laugh and a joke, but just let that sit in your mind before you take a purchase. All right? That doesn't mean that, when Bitcoin it's going up from here, for example, we're talking day trading, right? Take the logic. Forget the fact that if you say, you're telling me not to buy Bitcoin as it rises, and I wanted to buy Bitcoin at 102,000 and Bitcoin went all the way up to 106,000. You cost me $4,000 move. No, I'm talking about when you see price rising, you react to it. You get a little bit excited because you feel like you're missing out on what? The pump. That pump is an advert. And it's an advert to get this dude who wants to sell $1.6 million worth of Bitcoin. This dude right here wants to sell $23 million worth of Bitcoin. All right, see, look, $2.99 million worth of Bitcoin was to be sold at the price of 104,700. But then someone came in and says, look at this donut, he's buying as it's rising. Forget that, I'm selling it into him 23.92. So the order amount was over by 798%. Shows me that there was participants just stepping in, taking advantage of the liquidity that's coming into the market because they're trying to take advantage of the momentum and they just want to quickly sell. When you see them selling, all right, as it's rising, that's when you've got to be cautious. And then if the truth is there behind the rally, you buy the dip. And when the dip is established and price starts to retrace back up, then you ride the rally. All right? Because when I came into cryptocurrency, everyone was telling me that this is how you DCA. Let me take you on a little trip when that last happened. So this is what I was told. DCA, Tino, DCA, Tino, DCA, Tino, DCA, Tino, DCA capitalization, Tino. That's not, if you're a hedge fund, that's what you do. But you're not a hedge fund, all right? You're a retail dude. And you're buying Bitcoin at 69, 63, whatever it was, okay? DCA, 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 DCA. When someone says DCA, keep hold on. They're saying to you, hold on. Because it was like this. I witnessed it. It was like, hold on to Bitcoin, hold on to Bitcoin, hold on to Bitcoin, hold on to Bitcoin. Fuck it, keep saying hold on to, it's going to turn one day. Hold on to Bitcoin, hold on to Bitcoin. It's going to turn, man. Fuck, we've been saying it for the past year. Hold on to Bitcoin, hold on to Bitcoin. It's not doing anything. Just keep saying it, man. Keep doing the lies. Keep saying hold on to it. Hold on, hold on to Bitcoin, hold on to Bitcoin. Comes all the way up here. Told you. I think that is hilarious. That's the biggest bullshit I've ever heard in my life, telling people to DCA in a corrective market. You're not a fund manager, so you're not in a position to be buying in a corrective market. You buy in the bull market, so you start your buying as it rises. Why? Because you're getting a better average. When it rises, retrace, DCA, rise, retrace, DCA, rise, retrace, DCA, rise. Your investment is increasing in value. Why would you go in when it's decreasing in value? Doesn't make sense. Hedge fund managers do DCA when the market's rallying. Buy the dips, sell the rallies. There it is. Buy the dips, sell the rallies. That's DCA, in my opinion. Any questions, guys? DCA, here we go. DCA is the worst strategy ever. Hodling has been a dead strategy, especially for alts. That's what I mean, man. I think a lot of people in crypto come to go to X, go to YouTube for hopium. They really do. If you really did embrace the idea of investing, see, there's investing and then there's crypto. When crypto came out, everyone was about the crypto for the tech and all that, right? And it was, they then created this culture of hold on. Yeah, when people started to get aware of it. But you're forgetting that we've experienced so many scams in crypto. A culture of pump and dump has come into play. Before it was, it's the market. Now it's being engineered by retail traders, pumping and dumping coins, meme coins, for example. And it's even happening into the bigger coins, like Luna. And of course, you know, it's Cadena, is it? I think, was it Cadena that actually dropped or they stopped operating? Whatever. But you've got to adjust the way you do things in crypto now. You have to, because it's now about money. It's about you making something from it. So you buy an altcoin, it's on the cheap. Fuck it. Buy it, sell it when it rises, man. Take the profit. Go to another altcoin. If there was only 3 altcoins in the world, I would understand why you're holding on to it. But how many altcoins are there? There's so many. If you've got more than 10 altcoins in your portfolio, you're nuts. It's like, oh, I hope this one goes. I hope this one goes. I hope this one goes. And then you're looking at the balances like, I've got 1 million of those and it's still 0.00001 cent. Imagine if it goes to $1. Why is it that cheap? And why has it been cheap that long? I'm not trying to talk you out. I'm trying to get you to adjust your strategy. That's all. Hold on to your altcoins. Hold on to them and hope. Hope can be an indicator for some. But if you want to try and make money, You have to adjust the way you perceive the marketplace. Change your assets. Yeah? Staking. Oh, man. Very few people know about the staking. And you should really, just really get into staking. Because that's how you become a bank. All right, you'll be generating, just supplying liquidity, and you're getting a coin. If the coin makes it, it makes it. You know, do you remember ITAM? Remember the coin ITAM? I remember when that was on PancakeSwap, and I must have made a farm with it, and I put about 10 grand into the farm. I was making like 2,000-3,000 ITAM a day. I was just going and going and going. It just kept on going up, and just accumulating. And in the end, I had like something like 200,000-300,000 of ITAM coins. And I didn't think anything of it, just left it in my wallet. And then it come to the end of the farm, and then something happened, and that coin just shot up. It shot up. Made bank. Done. Made bank on that coin. Absolutely wild. Staking. They'll throw a coin that's going to grab attention, you know? And that was when PancakeSwap was, it was roughly around about 50, from $40. Then it was going to around the 25, 30 mark. It was just crazy. It was crazy. Well, I think it was about $40, but anyways. Tino, price target for gold, you think 5K? Not now. But I'm looking for 5K. Yeah. I think 2026 will hit 5K. 2026, yeah. I like the blood. I need a bloody steak. No worries. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, if you are new, mad love and respect, go to tradersreality.com. Everything you need is here on the hybrid system. And I've got my template here. So on the Traders Reality website, if you go to the homepage, if you're new, you know, watch the video, join the Discord, click it here, and then watch this video. It gives you the indicators, how to install them. But I've got the Traders Reality template right here. You click that, and it brings up exactly what I use, my exact format. Okay, but watch that video as it tells you exactly what you need to do with it. Okay, so for anyone that is new, make sure you take advantage of that template. Yeah? He's not looking bad for 50. Hey, man, I don't mind. I am 40, but never mind. If we consider that the markets are closed during the weekend, does that mean that vectors that occur during that time are mostly by retailers? Does that mean they have less weight over the ones during the week? Yes, they do, because during the weekend, it's just light volume. The vector, in principle, is based on the imbalances and the ticks that occur within that candlestick. Okay, so you've got to really consider that vectors in the day of the week carry more weight than the ones at the weekend, but they're still fundamentally imbalances that are created the same way. All right, but you improve the odds of a vector working in your favor if you trade it on your, trade it during the market hours. Because, like, for example, the setup that I gave today on the NASDAQ, okay, where is it? Here we go. Yeah, the NASDAQ setup. I was looking at this vector candle over here, okay, but I had to project in my mind what I need to anticipate from it first. So I looked for the drop down because there was no vectors over the week going into the evening session in Asia. They come down, created the vectors to then make the move to the upside. When we look at how it created it, it's just textbook hybrid system 101. Look at that. That's the daily. Go into the hourly. You can see you got the nice red candle, green candle, red candle formation, stopping volume candle. Okay. Ain't it mad how that pattern that you've got right there? Do you see that pattern? Red candle, stopping volume candle, blue vector candle. That pattern right there is exactly the same as that pattern right there. So that was my expectation already at the start of the week, start of the day. I expected to try and complete this pattern because it was giving it me on the daily time frame. So of course, price is fractal in its nature, but you can see how they created it right there. And the vector candle itself gives you the clue on how likely it's going to achieve that, So that was the setup there. And if you want to get the setups, ladies and gentlemen, just check them out. It's in the join section. It's pinned to the top of the chat. Okay, cool. I mean, with that being said, guys, I think that is it. Yeah, the stablecoin limit in the UK, 20,000 is the stablecoin limit for users in the UK. That is absolutely wild. It's all good because we only hold gold. Ha! Anyways, with that being said, I love you all, mad love and respect, and I'll be